There is a silent window that will open in the sky between the 14th and 16th of August, and what happens on these three specific nights will not repeat itself with the same intensity for the coming months, perhaps for the coming years. Venus, the planet that ancient peoples called the evening star, the same one the Egyptians associated with the goddess Isis, the Greeks with Aphrodite, the Romans with Venus herself, and the original peoples of America with their most powerful female deities, reaches during this period the point known as maximum eastern elongation. From a purely astronomical point of view, it is just geometry. Venus reaches its maximum angular distance from the Sun as seen from Earth, and therefore shines just after sunset, like an impossible-to-ignore lighthouse, so intense that many people mistake it for a stationary plane in the sky or a second small moon. But from a symbolic, esoteric, and spiritual point of view, these 3 nights form what scholars of the Hermetic tradition have called for centuries the portal of Venus, a short, precise, almost surgical window of personal magnetism, self-love, a sense of worthiness, effective healing, and manifestation. A window in which, according to the ancients, what you emit returns multiplied, what you cleanse vanishes never to return, and what you ask for with an open heart echoes in layers of your life that the rational mind did not even know existed. And here begins the mystery that must be told before any other word is pronounced. Each of these 3 nights is said to have a completely different function from the other 2, and the 9 rituals you are about to learn must be done exactly in the right order, on the right night in the right way, at the risk of opening a cycle too powerful and being unable to close it properly. If you have reached this content, it most likely was not by chance, and you have most likely been feeling, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, something strange that you have not yet been able to name. Stay. Watch until the end. Because what comes now changes everything, and the last part especially is the one almost no one has the courage to tell. There is an ancient scripture, present in one of the most hermetic and symbolic books of the entire Western tradition, which speaks of 144,000 people, marked, sealed, chosen from among the crowd at a specific moment in the spiritual history of humanity. You can read this literally if you wish, and that is a possible reading. But within the modern esoteric tradition, within the symbolic study of numbers, within what masters of practical Kabbalah and Theosophy have been saying for over 100 years, this number does not represent 144,000 individuals counted one by one. It represents a small, almost invisible portion of humanity that at certain historical moments undergoes what the ancients called an awakening of consciousness. It is not about religion. It is not about denomination. It is not about belonging to a group, a sect, or a specific current. It is about a sensitivity that activates within you almost without your permission, like a switch someone flips on the other side of the wall. And those who are symbolically part of these 144,000, according to those who have studied this type of phenomenon for decades, would begin to feel very specific signs even before the 14th arrived. Absurdly vivid dreams, the kind where you wake up with your heart pounding, your body sweating, and the very strange sensation of having literally been somewhere else during the night, talking to people you have never seen, but who seem to have known you for a long time. Memories that return out of nowhere in mundane moments, in the middle of coffee, on the bus, in the shower, scenes from your childhood, faces you haven't thought of in years, situations you swore you had forgotten, and that suddenly appear with disturbing clarity. An almost physical urge to be alone, to silence your phone, to decline invitations, to disconnect from the noise of the world, as if your body were asking for space to process something larger than you even understand. Numerical sequences that repeat without logical explanation. 1111, 44, 22, 22, 144 on license plates, receipts, clocks, restaurant table numbers, chapters of a book you open by chance. And above all this, an insistent, almost uncomfortable feeling, nearly a pressure in the chest, that something is about to change even without any concrete and visible evidence in your current daily life. If you have recognized at least 2 of these signs in recent weeks, pay double attention now, because what follows was literally made for you, and the next part will explain why. The first night, August 14th, is the night of the opening, and opening a portal within the tradition has never meant asking for things. It means creating space. Before you attract anything new into your life, it is necessary to cleanse what currently occupies the place of the new. This is why the first 3 rituals are all about cleansing and reception, and it is also why those who skip this night, thinking that only nights 2 and 3 are important, end up almost without exception feeling that nothing worked. It didn't work because the ground wasn't prepared. The first ritual you perform even before the sun sets. Choose a room in your house, preferably the bedroom where you sleep or the living room where you spend most of your time in silence. Open the windows wide, even if the day is cold, even if only for 10 minutes, and let the air truly circulate. If you have mild incense at home, it could be lavender, sandalwood, frankincense, myrrh, rosemary, light one. If you don't, a sprig of dried rosemary, a dried orange peel, or even a bowl with a bit of coarse salt in the corner of the room serves the same symbolic function. While the environment cleanses itself physically, you cleanse internally. Mentalize an old emotion that you have been carrying for too long and that you want to leave behind definitively. A grudge, a guilt, a resentment against someone, an old frustration with yourself, a regret that no longer makes sense to keep carrying. Do not try to rationalize. Do not try to justify. Do not try to resolve it. Just name it internally with clarity. I am letting this go today, here, now. The second ritual happens as soon as the sun begins to set and the first stars begin to appear on the horizon. You light a candle, white if possible, because white in the tradition symbolizes both the void ready to be filled and the light of all beginnings. But any light color will do if white is not possible, and take a blank sheet of paper, brand new, without erasures, without previous writing. On the left side of the sheet you write, without haste, everything that no longer serves you. Behaviors, recurring thoughts, old fears, repeating relationship dynamics, versions of yourself that have already died but that you insist on resurrecting. On the right side of the sheet you write, now coming from the heart and not from the head, everything you wish to attract for this new phase of your life. Do not be shy. Do not self-censor. Do not write what is reasonable. Write what you truly want, as if no one were ever going to read it because no one will. Keep this sheet. You will need it again. And the third ritual, the simplest of all and yet the most powerful of the entire night, is this. As soon as the sky darkens enough for you to see Venus with the naked eye, shining brightly in the western sky, just above the horizon, a few degrees above the line where the sun set, you stop everything. Truly stop. No phone in your pocket, no music in your headphones, no conversation, no noise. Stay in absolute silence, looking at Venus for at least a few minutes. 9 is ideal, and you will understand why 9 later on, and internally formulate a single intention. Not a list, not 5 requests, not 10 wishes. 1. The most important one in your life at this moment. And as you look at that insistent light in the sky, you imagine that an invisible line connects your chest directly to it, and that this intention travels up that line and is recorded in a place your mind cannot reach. This is the opening. Before attracting, you created the space. Before asking, you cleansed. Before receiving, you made yourself available. The second night, August 15th, is the heart of the entire process, and a warning must be given beforehand. Of the 3 nights, this is the most intense, the one that most destabilizes emotionally, the one that generates the most subsequent reports of strange coincidences, unusual dreams, emotions that rise without an apparent trigger, and unexpected encounters that happen precisely within these 24 hours. If you wake up on the 15th with an unusual feeling in your chest, with a strange urge to cry for no reason, with a diffuse nostalgia for something you cannot name, breathe deeply. It is all to be expected. The 3 rituals of this second night serve to directly activate your personal magnetism and set manifestation in motion on the practical plane. The 4th ritual you perform as soon as night fully falls, when there is no longer any band of light on the horizon. You take a new sheet, different from the previous night's sheet, and write 9 times in a row with careful handwriting, without abbreviating, without rushing, without repeating carelessly, a single intention, the same one you formulated while looking at Venus the night before. 9 times. If your handwriting becomes sloppy on the 3rd or 4th repetition, stop, Breathe, return your full attention to the gesture, and start again with presence. The act of manually repeating what is desired is one of the oldest techniques of symbolic fixation that exist in the West. Present in traditions ranging from medieval European Hermeticism to practical Kabbalah, from Renaissance natural magic to the initiatory schools of the 19th century. The number 9 within this tradition is not random. It represents the end of a cycle before the beginning of another, the last house before renewal, the number that closes so that the new can begin. The 5th ritual is the one that causes the most discomfort in people, and that is precisely why it works when it is truly done. You stand in front of a mirror, preferably in a room with low light, illuminated only by a candle or a soft lamp, and look yourself in the eyes. Not at the whole face, not at the hair, not at that small imperfection you always notice. In the eyes, directly into the pupil of the left eye, if you want a specific focus. And looking there, you pronounce out loud, not thought, not whispered, spoken, affirmations related to worthiness, self-value, and abundance. Phrases like, I deserve what I am asking for. I am worthy of the love I want to receive. I allow myself to prosper. I am enough exactly as I am today. I love myself even in the parts I haven't managed to love yet. If you feel like laughing out of embarrassment, laugh and continue. If you feel like crying, cry and continue. If you feel anger, feel it and continue. All these reactions are the body processing old blockages that were stuck in the relationship with yourself. And the 6th ritual you prepare early in the evening. Take a clear glass cup without details, without engravings, and fill it almost to the brim with clean, preferably filtered water. Place this cup near a window, through which you can see the sky on the western side, the same side where Venus is shining. Leave the cup there all night, symbolically receiving the light of Venus while you sleep. The next morning, upon waking, before any coffee, before any notification, before any conversation, you drink this water slowly, in small sips, in an absolutely conscious manner, knowing that you are internalizing what you asked for, integrating into your body what your soul articulated. It is not about the water changing chemically during the night. It is not about literal magic, about invisible particles, about esoteric chemistry. It is about you changing at dawn your own relationship with what you asked for. And this change, this one, has absolutely real effects on what you attract, what you perceive, and the opportunities you begin to see where before you only saw absence. The 3rd night, August 16th, is the night of the closing, and this is where most people make a mistake without realizing it, because they keep asking. They keep thinking that the more rituals, the more requests, the more affirmations, the stronger the result becomes. This is wrong. The 3rd night is not for asking for anything at all. The 3rd night is to seal what has already been opened in the previous 2, to give thanks even before the answer arrives, and especially to let go. Let go of control, let go of expectation, let go of the anxiety of the deadline, let go of the fantasy that you can predict exactly how what you asked for will manifest. The 7th ritual, you take a new blank sheet and write in full, without half words, without euphemisms, what you have decided to leave definitively behind in this phase of your life. A repetitive behavior that has already cost you dearly. A person who is already gone but occupies more mental space than they should. A version of you that no longer exists, but that you insist on trying to revive. An emotional pattern that has repeated for years in relationships, at work, in the family. After writing clearly, you tear the paper into small pieces, the smallest you can, and discard them. You can throw them in the regular trash and take the trash out of the house the next day. You can bury them in the pot of a living plant. You can burn them very safely in a dish inside the sink with the faucet half open. The physical gesture of destroying that paper is the symbolic gesture of ending that cycle. It is an internal contract that no longer belongs to you. The 8th ritual is the most subtle and possibly the most transformative of all. You give thanks out loud or in writing on the back of a new sheet for 3 specific changes you wish to experience in your life, as if they had already happened, as if you were looking back and recognizing what has already taken place. It is not, I want a new job. It is, thank you for the new job that is already on its way to my life. It is not, I would like to reconcile with that person. It is, thank you for the reconciliation that is already taking shape. It is not, "I need to improve my health." It is, "Thank you for the full health that is already being restored in my body." Anticipated gratitude is one of the oldest spiritual technologies of all the world's traditions, and it works for a very concrete reason. It reorganizes your emotional expectation, takes the body out of scarcity mode, and places it into reception mode. And the ninth ritual, the last of all, the one that officially closes the 3-day cycle, is exactly this. You stay for exactly 9 minutes in absolute silence, sitting comfortably, with your eyes closed, no music, no guided visualization, no app, no timer in sight. Set the alarm on your phone and turn it face down. In these 9 minutes, you visualize the new phase of your life as if it had already begun yesterday, as if you were remembering the present instead of dreaming of the future. Do not ask for anything else. Do not repeat affirmations. Just inhabit for 9 minutes the version of you that already lives what you just gave thanks for. When the alarm rings, you stand up in silence, blow out the candle if you lit one, and go to sleep without speaking about the matter with anyone else for the rest of the night. During these 72 hours between sunset on the 14th and dawn on the 17th, some people will begin to notice very specific signs that would indicate that the symbolic energy of Venus is indeed resonating with them at a deeper level. Pay attention to these 7 signs because when 2, 3, 4 of them appear at the same time within the same short window, it is hardly just coincidence. The first sign is finding, without looking, symbols linked to stars or hearts in unlikely places. On a gift wrap you received for another reason, in a shop window you pass every day but had never noticed, on the phone screen of someone sitting next to you on transport, in a drawing a child shows you out of the blue at a family birthday, in a scribble in your own notebook that you don't remember making. The second sign is the insistent repetition of numbers, especially sequences involving 9, 4, 22 and 144. You look at the clock and it is exactly 9:09. You receive a change receipt with a value ending in 44. You hear the number 22 in a conversation and 5 minutes later in a news report. The third sign is an unexpected reconciliation, a message from that person you haven't spoken to in ages, an apology that arrives without prior warning, a casual encounter at the supermarket with someone you imagined had left your life forever. The fourth sign is vivid dreams with people from your past, especially people with whom you had emotional matters not completely resolved, and you wake up with the strange feeling that that dream was not a common dream, it was something else. The fifth sign is a sudden, almost impulsive urge to change something in your appearance, cut your hair in a different way, change the color, buy a piece of clothing completely outside your norm, take out that old piercing, put in a new one, tattoo something you've been putting off for years. This sudden urge is the body asking to mark externally a change that has already happened internally. The sixth sign is old emotions that surface without an apparent trigger, almost as if the body were doing a forced internal cleaning. You cry watching a silly soap opera scene. You get emotional listening to a song that was always indifferent to you. You feel a nostalgia difficult to name when passing by a common place. And the seventh sign, the most subtle and yet the strongest of all, is a sudden sentimental clarity. That moment when you look at a stagnant situation in your life and perceive, with a tranquility that simply didn't exist inside you before, exactly what you need to do, even if it is something you have been putting off for months or years. And the question that remains open, the question that is a bit scary when you stop to think about it, is this. What exactly happens in the life of the one who recognizes 3, 4, 5 of these 7 signs within these same 72 hours? The answer you will only know if it happens to you. Before continuing, 3 absolutely essential warnings about what you should not do during these 3 nights, because a mistake here can invalidate the entire process and, in some cases, produce the opposite result of what you were seeking. First warning, the most important of all, never under any circumstances perform these rituals starting from fear or despair. Venus, within this symbolic reading, responds to the calm magnetism of trust, never to the suffocating demand of desperation. If you come to the rituals in an internal energy of, "This must work or my life is over," if it doesn't work, I don't know what else to do, this is my last hope, you are asking from exactly the wrong place, and the symbolic portal simply does not open. Before beginning, make peace with the possibility that perhaps the result will not come in the form you imagined, nor in the time frame you want, and still go ahead. It is this calm surrender that activates manifestation, not the desperate demand. Second warning: at no time under any hypothesis, try to use these rituals to control the specific will of another person. Do not ask for a specific person to return. Do not ask for a specific person to love you against their will. Do not ask for a specific person to act in a specific way toward you. Ask for the feeling you want to experience. Ask for the quality of the bond you want to live. Ask for the experience you want to attract, never for the person by name. Interfering with the will of others is one of the oldest red lines of all serious traditions. And it always comes back, and it comes back heavy, usually in the form of you becoming tied precisely to what you wanted to control. Third warning: after the 9 rituals end, in the early hours of the 17th, resist with all your strength the temptation to obsessively look for immediate signs, checking your phone every 2 minutes expecting a message, looking at the sky expecting a literal sign, demanding results in the first 2 or 3 days. The symbolic energy of Venus is not a machine of punctual miracles programmed to deliver exactly what you want in the time frame you determined. It is a symbol, it is an opening, it is a signaling. It is not a supernatural guarantee that a specific event will happen exactly as you fantasized, in the time you demanded, with the people you chose. Those who obsess over signs immediately afterward almost always close themselves off to the real signs when they finally arrive, because they do not come in the packaging the mind expected.